Hey everyone, what is going on? Elvis here. Welcome back to The Lost Eternal. It has been quite some time since we've done one of these bad boys. Pretty fired up about doing it. We got lots of topics that we're going to be talking about today. New Legend, Guardians of Ember, Diablo 3 Season 8 having fuck all content, the floor plans at BlizzCon also regarding D3, David Brevik, Diablo 2 OG developer, joining Path of Exile. Let's get into it. So I want to start off with Guardians of Ember. Now, this is an action RPG. If you're not familiar with it, it's an MMO. Now, the release date's actually changed a little bit on Steam, which is quite interesting, but I've been in contact with some of their team members, and it looks like the game's turning out to be pretty good. I'm definitely going to be checking out the beta when it does get released, and it looks like that it is going to be released very soon. Just stay tuned for that anyway. But what I did want to ask you guys is, are you even interested in this game, and how do you feel about it at the moment, let alone even if you've even heard of it? Let me know. Now let's jump into New Legend, another action RPG MMO. This is a sequel to Mu. Now here's the funny thing about Mu Legend and Mu Online. So I originally had never heard of this game. If you asked me a year ago, I would never have known what this was. But the more I look into it, the more I've found out that this was the game for a lot of people growing up. And what I mean by that is, you know, like for me, it was Diablo. That was like the game that I played. It was nothing else. So it's pretty interesting to see that there is this hardcore fan base wrapped around the original game from ages ago. It's amazing to see this stuff to me. So it's definitely, you know, a pretty good fan base that's wrapped around this game. And it does look fantastic. It looks like it plays a lot more like a Diablo game than an MMO. For example, most recently, you know, looking at some of the slower paced combat in Lost Ark. And by slower pace, I mean, you know, it just takes longer to kill stuff. New Legend looks like it is kind of leaning towards more of that action style of combat where you're killing heaps and heaps of mobs all at the same time and kind of burning through it. So that definitely appeals to myself. Now, the class pool is quite cliche around the main archetypes you would expect from an action RPG. I mean, it's got pretty much every class that you would kind of expect. At the same time, it does have its own art style, its own kind of Korean flavor as well. So I'm pretty excited about this, and I am going to be giving away some closed beta keys. So the game launches on the 25th. It'll also launch in English as well. This is the closed beta test. So if you want to get into the closed beta, hit me up in the comments below. This is if you do want to play it or you haven't got a closed beta invite already. Hit me up in the comments below and just say, hey man, I want a closed beta key. And I'll try and give out as many as I can to everyone, but there are limits. So also keep an eye on your inbox as well, because I'll be messaging you on YouTube if you do win it. So if you're interested to learn more about New Legend as well, I've actually done a video on it already. That's why I'm not going into the details about it. I'll find it and put it in the description below. You're welcome to check out the nitty-gritty details about what the classes are like and so on. Now let's talk about Diablo 3 Season 8. What the fuck? Yeah, like hardly any content whatsoever. Pretty amazing. You know, going through the comments section on the original post, I think there was about 250 comments when I last checked, and I would say 95% of the comments are, hey, we want new content, what is this? Like 95% of the comments. Go and check it out for yourself. Everyone just wants new content in Diablo 3, and Season 8 is the biggest step back from that we've ever seen. Now with BlizzCon just around the corner, you know, the floor plans and release schedule have been released as well. So here's what you need to know. The floor plans are pretty underwhelming, I can say that much. The Diablo stand is so incredibly small. It's located behind the toilets again, although slightly larger than last time. Now, I'm going to go into more details about this, but if we look at the schedule as well, I believe one schedule is just talking about the art and signing and all that kind of stuff, but the other main event goes for an hour, and its focus is on 20 years of Diablo. This is the 20th anniversary for that franchise. A huge deal for the company. One could naturally expect to see, the 20th anniversary. Come on, where's the cool release on the new game and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know if that's really how it works out with development schedules and just the fact that it's the 20th anniversary. Who knows? Either way, there's definitely going to be some marketing around it. But back onto the point here, the event goes for around about an hour long. And a lot of users have been commenting in saying, well, let's say that it takes 15 minutes just to talk about the previous games. There's going to be some cool, what's the word? There's going to be some really cool, cinematic or video that they've put together showcasing all of the awesome stuff that's happened over the years with the Diablo franchise. But, after 15 minutes or so, let's say it leaves another 45 minutes. We've got, 5 minutes for an intro and an outro. That leaves us with 40 minutes. That's not really a lot of time. And this is all just speculation, but that's not a lot of time to talk about a new expansion or the next installment for the game, say a Diablo 4 or even a HD remake of the previous Diablo titles. Not a lot of room there. 40 minutes, man. Come on, if they're announcing a brand new friggin' game, it'd be main stage. It'd be 2 hours. Hey, this is the skills. Here's what we're looking at. We're going to do this, this, and that. And man, go watch some of the previous Diablo events at BlizzCon. You know exactly what I mean. But, at the same time, you just don't know with these things. It could be anything. I watched a pretty interesting video that talked about some details, but it's kind of like a grab for hope, if you ask me, regarding the floor plans. Some of the topics that were mentioned were the fact that, yes, it's a small floor plan, but it's bigger than last year. And let's say if you're testing out or giving gameplay demos at the actual event, then you wouldn't need a massive set of computers for example, say Overwatch or Heroes of the Storm. Because to play Overwatch and Heroes of the Storm, you obviously need a certain amount of characters in the game. In Diablo, you can just do it with one. Maybe they'll allow 4 people to group up in the party. You know what I mean? It's not a lot of computers. They don't need 150 of them. They kind of just need 30 computers. That's a ton. So that's one comment. The other comment is that the Hearthstone booth has moved. It was previously located in an area which is actually completely grayed out on the floor plans. So we don't know what's in that room. The last point is that the fact that Diablo 3 is right at the front when you walk in the entrance. That's pretty much the slither of hope that we're all hanging on to. Who knows, guys? I mean, they could just drop it and squeeze it in. Maybe they want to keep it a big hush-hush secret until the actual event launches. That's all I have to say about that. Now, David Brevik has joined the Path of Exile team. This is some pretty interesting stuff because obviously David Brevik is, an OG. He put in so much work into Diablo 2 and in my opinion is instrumental in the action RPG genre as a whole. If you look at Diablo 1, that was a classic, amazing game. It pretty much launched Blizzard from that title alone. Obviously they had help from their other fantastic games, but it really was a standout. The thing about those type of games is these days you don't get good sequels like that. You know what I mean? The next game is never insanely more successful and innovative and 10 steps up from the previous game. It just doesn't happen these days, but Diablo 2 did. People play that shit now. I play that shit still. It's amazing how long that game has lasted for David Brevik. So if you're curious about him, he basically moved on to a couple of different projects. He was working on Marvel, I don't even know what they call it right now, Marvel 2016 or something like that. Action RPG based around superheroes. He stepped down a little while ago. You might remember me talking about that. Well, it looks like he is joining the Path of Exile team. He's actually going to be, in his words, an advisor to help them move into the Chinese market. I won't go into the whole details about it, but yeah, the Chinese market is kind of where it's at, guys. If you're semi-successful in China, you're wildly successful in general. It's just, the population there is just so big that there's a lot of money to be made. Let's just say that. I did want to mention one more thing. Now, if you remember a little while ago, there was some job listings that did come up for Diablo-related projects. Now, one of those positions have been filled one of the art positions to be specific. And guess what, guys? I managed to find the dude who filled in and stepped in on that role. So I'm going to leave you with some screenshots from his art. Feel free to look deeper and check into it more. I'm not going to put his name in here because I don't know if he really wants to have his name mentioned around on the internet, but I'll definitely put some of his art up so you can see just how talented this guy is who's working on Diablo right now. So it is pretty cool. It's pretty promising stuff. But anyway, friends, thanks for joining me as always. Don't forget about that beta key. If you want a Mu Legend beta key, hit me up in the comments and keep an eye out for your messages and just let me know to say, hey man, Alvis, you fucking pleb, give me a beta key. I really want to play this game. And something like that. And I'll definitely message you guys. Thanks for joining me as always. There'll be more action RPG content in the future. Heaps of cool stuff's been happening lately. So it feels about right to get the series going again. Catch you next time. See you guys.